Welcome to Geography for Everyone. Learn now, enjoy later. This week we are off to a place bursting with wonderful wildlife, rich culture and mind-blowing history, South Africa. South Africa, on the continent's southern tip, is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean on the west and by the Indian Ocean on the south and east. Its neighbors are Namibia in the northwest, Zimbabwe and Botswana in the north, and Mozambique and Swaziland in the northeast. The Kingdom of Lesotho forms an enclave within the southeast part of South Africa. The country covers an area of 1.2 million square kilometers. The population of South Africa is about 60.1 million people of diverse origins, cultures, languages, and religions. The Black African population is in the majority and constitutes approximately 81% of the total South African population. The white population is estimated at 4.7 million, meaning 7.7%, the colored population at 5.3 million, meaning 8.8%, and the Indian Asian population at 1.5 million, meaning 2.5%. This colorful mix of cultures gives South Africa its nickname Rainbow Nation. South Africa is a multicultural society that is characterized by its rich linguistic diversity. Language is an indispensable tool that can be used to deepen democracy and also contribute to the social, cultural, intellectual, economic and political life of the South African society. The country is multilingual with 11 official languages, each of which is guaranteed equal status. Most South Africans are multilingual and able to speak at least 2 or more of the official languages. Official languages are Afrikaans, English, isiNdebele, isiXhosa, isiZulu, Northern Sotho, Sesotho, Setswana, Siswati, Tshivenda, Xitsonga. Almost 80% of South African population adheres to the Christian faith. Other major religious groups are Hindus, Muslims and Jews. A minority of South African population does not belong to any of the major religions, but regard themselves as traditionalists or of no specific religious affiliation. Since 1994, South Africa has been divided into 9 provinces: the Eastern Cape, the Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, the Northern Cape and the Western Cape. The smallest, but very crowded, is Gauteng, a highly urbanized region, and the largest is the vast, arid and empty Northern Cape, which takes up almost a third of South Africa's total land area. Asking, what is the capital of South Africa? Will result in a slightly more complicated answer than expected. While this question might be simple to ask for most countries, it isn't such a simple answer in South Africa's case. There is not one South Africa capital name, nor 2, but instead, 3. There are a small minority of countries in the world which have more than one capital. However, the only country in the world to have 3 capitals is South Africa. The South African government is divided into 3 sections and therefore, based in 3 diverse capitals. The administrative capital of South Africa is Pretoria. Located in the province of Gauteng, Pretoria is in the northeast part of South Africa and near the city of Johannesburg. Known as the City of Jacaranda for all the trees adorned with purple flowers that line its streets, Pretoria is a wonderful and quiet city. It has a long, involved and fascinating history. Here you will find significant old buildings and fascinating museums. The Transvaal Museum has natural history exhibits and is home to Mrs. Pearl's, the Australopithecine fossil found at the Sterkfontein in the cradle of mankind. Practically mandatory when visiting the city are the Pretoria Botanical Gardens, the zoo, the Union Buildings and various museums and galleries that include Melrose House, the Pioneer Museum, Sammy Marks Museum, and the Voortrekker Monument. Outdoor activities include the Wonderboom and Kroonkloof Nature Reserves, the Austin Roberts Bird Sanctuary, and a steam train ride around Pretoria. South Africa's legislative capital is Cape Town. Located in the southwest corner of South Africa in the province of Western Cape, Cape Town is the second largest city in population. Famous for its sun, sea and scenery, Cape Town is a beloved tourist destination for visitors the world over. It's, therefore, no surprise that this coastal gem has been voted the best city in the world 7 years running. The history of South Africa, the Cape, and Cape Town city itself is a long, important and somber one. From the Khoisan who lived across the southern reaches of the continent for hundreds of years, to the colonization and resulting slave trade that introduced Indian, Indonesian and the Middle Eastern populations to the area, and of course South Africa's apartheid history which can never be overlooked. Of all of this dark yet moving history, Cape Town is perhaps most famously known for being home to the inspirational South African president and national treasure, Nelson Mandela. It is difficult to describe in just a few words what Cape Town is all about. You really have to experience it in order to be able to appreciate the mingle of African and European cultures, a mix of tradition and modern and the unique blend of city life and nature. Some of the main places you have to visit here are Table Mountain, Victoria and Alfred Waterfront, Signal Hill and Damp, Lions Head, Robben Island and Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden. The judicial capital of South Africa is Bloemfontein. Its name means blooming flowers or fountain of flowers in Afrikaans. The city hosts an annual Rose Festival and hence, also is given the name City of Roses. Located in the province of Free State, Bloemfontein is in the center of South Africa. Thanks to the rich history of this part of South Africa, there are beautiful historical buildings throughout the city center. These flank the streets and showcase the classic architecture of yesteryear and graceful nostalgia. Museums dot the suburbs as a testimony to times past. They are filled to the brim with keepsakes, relics and memorabilia that tells fascinating tales. In the heart of the city is the Franklin Game Reserve at Naval Hill. It is extremely rare to find a nature reserve right in the heart of a city, making this a very special attraction. South Africa is a constitutional democracy and it has a three-tier system of government: national, provincial, and local. Although democracy in South Africa remains flawed, it was hard-won. Following centuries of oppression through colonialism and apartheid, the South African people's struggle for democratic freedom finally culminated in majority rule in 1994. The first post-apartheid election took place on the 27th of April of that year. Nelson Mandela was sworn in as president of the first democratically elected South African government on the 10th of May 1994, after spending 27 years as a political prisoner. The Constitutional Court approved South Africa's constitution, or supreme law of the land, on the 4th of December 1996. It took effect on the 4th of February 1997. The South African government is led by the executive branch, the president, and the cabinet. The president of South Africa is currently Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. The South African rand, ZAR, is the currency of legal tender in South Africa since 1961, year when it replaced the South African pound. It is divided into 100 cents. The current design of the national flag of the Republic of South Africa was adopted on April 27, 1994, with the end of apartheid leading to the widespread belief that a new national flag must include the cultures of all South Africans. When the new flag was designed, it was specifically stated that the colors had no official meaning or symbolism, other than their choice from their use in the past. However, according to Brownell, the flag's designer, the red symbolizes the bloodshed in the country's various conflicts and wars. In recent times, certain unofficial explanations have been suggested for the meaning of the flag's colors. In one optimistic explanation, the pall is stated to symbolize the convergence as one unified nation. The blue represents the sky and the two oceans that surround the country. The green symbolizes the farms and natural environment that are an essential part of South Africa. The yellow stands for the natural resources of South Africa, particularly gold. The black represents Black South Africans, doubling as a symbol of belonging with the rest of Africa, and the white represents White South Africans, doubling as a symbol of peace. In one rather pessimistic explanation, The yellow represents an electric fence. Much of the magic of South Africa comes from its natural drama and diversity. Most of South Africa's landscape is made up of high, flat areas called plateaus. These lands are covered with rolling grasslands, called heaveld, and tree-dotted plains called bushveld. To the east, south, and west of the plateau lands is a mountainous region called the Great Escarpment, the most prominent and continuous relief feature of the country. Its height above sea level varies from about 1,500 meters in the Dullarend-Kaapdrog-Geveld Scarp in the southwest, to a height of 3,482 meters in the KwaZulu-Natal-Drakensberg. None of the country's rivers are commercially navigable and most river mouths are unsuitable as harbors because large sandbanks block entry for most of the year. South Africa has no significant natural lakes. Artificial lakes are used mostly for crop irrigation. The Orange River is South Africa's largest river. From aardvarks to zebras, South Africa is bursting with wonderful wildlife. Although the country only makes up about 1% of the Earth's land surface, it's home to almost 10% of the world's known bird, fish and plant species, and about 6% of its mammal and reptile species. The seas around South Africa are also full of incredible creatures. In fact, around 2,000 marine species visit South African waters at some point during the year. What's more, this magnificent country gets to enjoy one of nature's most spectacular underwater events, the Sardine Run. Every June, millions of sardines travel up the east coast, creating a phenomenal feeding frenzy for thousands of hungry sharks, dolphins and birds. South Africa works hard to preserve its wildlife. There are dozens of protected land and marine areas, including the famous Kruger National Park in the north, as well as nearly 9,000 privately owned game reserves throughout the country. Nevertheless, many of South Africa's animals are threatened by illegal hunting and habitat loss, and dozens of species are in danger of extinction, including the black rhinoceros, the cheetah and the African wild dog. A subtropical location, moderated by the ocean on 3 parts of the country and the altitude of the inland plateau, explain the warm temperate conditions. South Africa is a relatively dry country with an average annual rainfall of about 464 millimeters. While the Western Cape receives most of the rainfall in the winter, the rest of the country is generally a region with summer rainfall. Temperatures in South Africa tend to be lower than in other countries at similar latitudes, mainly due to higher altitudes above sea level. On the inner plateau, the altitude, Johannesburg is at 1,694 meters, keeps average summer temperatures below 30 degrees C during the winter. For the same reason, nighttime temperatures may drop to freezing or may drop in some places. Therefore, the coastal regions of South Africa are relatively warm in winter. There is a striking contrast between the temperatures on the east and west coasts of the country, due to the warm Agulhas Current and the cold Bengala Current sweeping the coasts, respectively. Tourism remains a key driver of South Africa's national economy and contributes to job creation. The tourism industry is a major contributor to the South African economy and employment of citizens. The sector contributes about 9% to the country's gross domestic product. South Africa is so special and unique that it's often called the world in one country. And so it is. South Africa is like a perfect mix of the very best of the entire world in one place. At the same time, it's like no other place on Earth. One of the most beautiful drives in the world, the Garden Route meanders past seaside villages, game reserves, forests, lagoons, and white sandy beaches, with the brilliant blues of the Indian Ocean right alongside you. Stretching from Mossel Bay to St. Francis, this tourist route is what lures most international visitors to South Africa. There's so much to see along the Garden Route that it's hard not to stop every 5 minutes. Explore the quaint village of Wilderness with its tranquil beach, bungee jump off the highest commercial bridge bungee in Storms River, and get up close to African elephants at Nina Elephant Park. Plettenberg Bay, besides beaches, offers a host of wildlife watching opportunities and hiking trails in the sea-facing Robberg Nature Reserve. A short drive away, you can spot tropical birds in one of the world's largest free-flying aviaries at Birds of Eden, or walk through the forest surrounded by squirrel monkeys and capuchins at Monkeyland. The Drakensberg is a mountain range in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province. Often shortened to just the Berg by locals, the Drakensberg means Mountains of the Dragon. The meaning of such a dramatic name isn't lost on you when you see the might and majesty of these mountains. Forming part of the Great Escarpment, the area is home to a mix of waterfalls and hiking trails split into the northern and southern reaches. It's also home to the country's highest peaks. The region encompasses the World Heritage-listed Ukhalamba Drakensberg Park, a region of jaw-dropping beauty, with jagged basalt buttresses and sandrock art, and Royal Natal National Park, home to the awe-inspiring amphitheater, a magnificent cliff face and source of South Africa's main rivers. The Giant's Castle Game Reserve in the region protects large herds of eland. Dense forests flourish in the sheltered valleys, and the area is home to more than 800 different species of flowering plants, as well as a rich diversity of wildlife. Johannesburg, also known as Joburg, is the largest city in South Africa by population. Named the City of Gold for its rich deposits of the precious metal, it's also the economic engine and vibrant heart of the country. Top Johannesburg attractions include the Apartheid Museum, a poignant look at the oppression of apartheid to the birth of democracy, Constitution Hill, and Gold Reef City, which traces the region's history through mining-themed attractions. The people of South Africa know how to embrace beliefs and origins in all aspects and diversities. The South African culture is unique due to its diversified way of living. This ravishingly endowed nation well fits the term Rainbow Nation, as many people from different cultures and traditions live as one. The name Khoisan is a blend of Khoikhoi and San, two groups who shared similar cultures and languages. But they were by no means a homogeneous people. In fact, they generally existed in isolation of each other, and used different means in order to survive off the land. The Khoikhoi were skilled in the practice of nomadic pastoral agriculture. They maintained large herds of cattle throughout the country. The San, on the other hand, were skilled hunter-gatherers, whom most consider to be the first people living on the land known today as Botswana and South Africa. San people were semi-nomadic, seasonally moving to new regions when water or animals became sparse. Today the Khoisan struggle to maintain their traditional way of existence, and we are currently witnessing the end of their hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Many have started to transition into more modern lifestyles, and have shifted to agriculture and herding. This means that many of their original skills and insights, particularly pertaining to hunting and gathering, are being lost. The Zulu traditional culture was well known for the ferocity of its shield-bearing warriors, especially under Shaka. For its beadwork and basketry, and the beehive grass huts that pepper the KwaZulu-Natal hills. Zulu beliefs are based on the presence of ancestral spirits, which often appear in dreams, and a supreme being who is seldom involved in the affairs of mortals. Magic is used and many cases of illness or bad luck are considered to be caused by an evil spirit. A diviner will communicate with the spirits or use natural herbs and prayers to get rid of the problem. The Xhosa culture is well known for the complex dress code that indicates a person's social standing. How senior they are, if they are married or single, if they are the new wife or have had a baby, all shown in the headdress and dress of the wearer. Traditionalists were described as red because of their practice of daubing red clay on their faces and bodies. Women and men also use cosmetic white clay on their faces. The Xhosas have a strong oral tradition with many stories of ancestral heroes. Ancestor worship rituals as well as the initiation ceremony for young men are still practiced, even though many young men die or are mutilated by the circumcision. Among the Xhosas were two of our modern-day heroes, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. The Ndebele culture is renowned for the skill of the women who decorate their homes in vibrant geometric designs. Skills are passed from mother to daughter, and the shapes used are often inspired by their intricately fashioned beadwork. Ndebele women wear neck rings and traditional blankets of striking colors. The Basotho people have developed a unique culture. As one of the few African tribes living in a mountainous environment, they have made many adaptations to their conditions. The Basotho blanket is one example. All around the country you will see people dressed in woolen blankets, often with beautiful patterns. This is the ideal garment for a cold environment, and also has the versatility of keeping the rain off. Villages are often located high in the mountains, usually on the mid-levels well above the deep river valleys and the flood dangers they carry. Villages are very structured. They are made up of a number of kraals, that is a collection of buildings belonging to one family. Some are for sleeping, some for storage and one for cooking. Each kraal will also have an enclosure for livestock. Each village has a chief, or headman, who will fall under the chief for the area. The Basotho are agriculturalists. All around the village will be many fields, and these are allocated by the chief to villagers. In Xhosa, Ndebele or Zulu society, marriages with relatives are discouraged, while Sotho seeks brides from relatives, especially maternal cousins. The Shangaan people, through Tsonga influence, are one of the few ethnic groups in South Africa to practice fishing and include fish in their diet. Because of the wealth of game in the area, they also enjoy venison and crocodile, which they bake in a delicious groundnut sauce. An important figure in traditional Shangaan culture is the Sangoma, a healer and spiritual guide. The Sangoma's medicine gourd has become a symbol of the traditional cultural heritage of the Shangaan. The Venda culture, the smallest of the South Africa cultures, is built on a vibrant mythical belief system, and water is an import theme, believing lakes and rivers to be sacred, and that rains are controlled by the Python god. One of the most sacred sites of the Venda is Lake Funduji, where annual rites are held. The combination of dance and music is an essential aspect of culture in most ethnic groups. Zulu dances take place during ceremonies and special occasions combined with rhythmic singing. The most critical part of these Zulu celebrations is the traditional attire worn by the men and women participating. Zulu traditional dance requires the unmarried men to dance, and then the married men and women may join. Married women perform a shrill dance while young women dance. Also, young people are not left behind, as they will clap and beat drums. The Royal Reed Dance. This festival marks one of the celebrated Zulu holidays and festivals. It involves the women making and designing the beads and reeds for use during the event. Close to 10,000 Zulu maidens travel to the King's Place in KwaZulu-Natal province. The reed items and beads will be used by the women while singing as the parade arrives at the palace. South African cuisine is a unique fusion of many different external cultural influences. These include Dutch, French, Indian and Malaysian flavors and techniques that continue to make their way onto the menus of restaurants and into the homes of locals all over the country. The shakalaka is probably the most common dish of South Africa. It has a mix of chopped tomato, carrots, chilies, garlic, baked beans and hot curry. The shakalaka is served as a side in most of the meals of South Africa. Biltong and damp. Druers, usually made from beef or game, such as springbok, biltong and druers are traditionally eaten as snacks. The meat is cured in a mixture of vinegar, salt, sugar and spices such as coriander and pepper, then hung to dry. The finished product is prized by health enthusiasts for its high protein and low fat content. Boerewors is a traditional South African sausage made from beef, mixed with either pork or lamb and a mixture of spices. Boerewors are traditionally served in a coiled shape and cooked on a barbecue. Bobotie is minced meat spiced with medium heat curry, turmeric, garlic, lemon zest, onions, herbs, salt and pepper. Most like to add raisins. Baked until fully cooked, the dish is topped with an egg and milk mixture and placed back into the oven to set. Once the top custard-type layer has set, The dish is cut into squares and served on top of yellow rice and melted apricot jam and fruit chutney. Similar to the British custard tart or Portuguese pastéis de nata, milk tart or milk tart consists of a pastry case filled with milk, eggs and sugar, which is usually thickened with flour. The finished tart is traditionally dusted with cinnamon. It is a real South African comfort food and it is served as a dessert. Sport in South Africa has a very significant role in South African culture. Sports have been used to unite the people, entertain, and create opportunities for people throughout the country who would not have had these opportunities otherwise. The three most popular mainstream sports in the country, football, rugby, and cricket, reflect the country's early British colonial influence. Resilient, gritty, and hardworking are some of the words that describe the people of South Africa. A number of them have seen their fame go further afield, crossing the continent to become global stars. Several political figures, singers and sportspeople are known worldwide. Mandela, the most famous of them all, changed the world. Freedom fighter, national hero, Nobel winner and first South African president to rule in the post-apartheid era. Nelson Mandela is without doubt the best known and most revered of South Africa's children. Fondly known as Madiba, he has, since his death, secured his place in history as a man who fought for humanity. A legend unto himself. He dedicated his life to his country and paid the price for defending his ideology by spending 27 years in prison. Revered as the father of the nation by the South Africans, Nelson Mandela was a statesman who rose to become the country's first black head of state. He reconciled a nation divided along racial lines and dismantled the legacy of apartheid. Desmond Tutu is known for his anti-apartheid activism in South Africa. The first black Archbishop of Cape Town, he has also been the Bishop of Johannesburg. His efforts to eradicate AIDS, poverty, anti-LGBT sentiments, and human rights violations earned him the Nobel Peace Prize and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Charlize Theron is a former model and was an aspiring ballerina whose career came to a halt after a knee injury. However, an unexpected encounter brought her in the world of acting, and she went on to achieve tremendous success, including winning an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award. She is currently one of the world's highest paid actresses. Arguably the best comedian of this time, Trevor Noah is a political satirist, stand-up comedian, writer and TV host at Comedy Central. He was born and raised in Johannesburg to an Xhosa mother and a Swiss dad. He started his career in 2002 in SABC, during which he gained lots of experience, and of late, he has done lots of stand-up comedy features and shows. He also has an autobiography, Born a Crime, published in 2016, which became the New York bestseller within a short period. There is so much to know about South Africa, so we will name some more interesting facts. Sadly, one of the most famous things about South Africa is the apartheid, which started in 1948 and ended in early 92. Since this wasn't that long ago, you can still see the consequences in the streets. The apartheid was a political system which was based on racial segregation. All non-white people were forced to have a separated life from the white ones, including job, transport and living areas. In 1976, the first protests occurred in Soweto led by black children. It is said that over 20,000 students were in the protests and over 700 of them were killed by the police. The apartheid finished on the 27th of April. It was another huge example of rebellion for the rest of the world, and definitely one of the most important facts of the South African history. One of the most interesting facts about South Africa is that although it is definitely not a rich country, there are many minerals and actually is the leader with 90% of the platinum metals in the world and about 40% of the gold on Earth. South Africa is one of the few African countries with stable electricity, and it is also where 2/3 of Africa's electricity is generated. South Africa's drinking water is safe, but not just safe. The water of South Africa is the third best and safest water in the world that is ready to drink. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.